Okay, Albie, you're in marketing sales kind of thing, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, I didn't really.
Did you turn up is my mic on?
Your mic is on. Yes.
Okay.
Do you
just
want
checking.
it on? Okay.
I think my headphones need to be up.
Stay
Check
safe.
1, 2. Okay.
Okay.
Stop there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make sure, this is not the kind of thing we want to figure out before.
I thought it sounded okay before. I don't know what happened. Okay. Yes, so I'm in marketing.
Formulating a hot sauce deal.
You're formulating a hot sauce deal? What does that mean?
Alice, how long have we known each other?
12, almost 13 years?
So here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
After careful deliberation, I've come to the conclusion that Chelsea Fire hot sauce is the best straight-up hot sauce there is.
Oh, yeah?
The best straight-up. Now, there are some that are more elaborate, some that are different tasting, some that are hotter, some of those. But pound for pound, it's the best there is. And it was made by a guy, a member of the Chelsea Fire Department, I'm pretty sure, named John. And they make it now. It's actually, you guys should know this. It's on sale at Market Basket. And it's just delicious. So I want to deal with them. So I've started an email to the guy, John, who owns the business. Hi, John. My name is Tom Shattuck. I host a radio show on WTIC in Hartford, and I was a columnist for the Boston Herald. Now my wife and myself, which, by the way, my word thing Grammarly wants me to change to my wife and I.
Okay.
Do I?
I think either's fine.
Now my wife and I host a podcast called the Tom Shattuck's Burn Barrel, and I'm going to give him a link.
I mean, it's good branding with the burn and the fire.
Yes.
And
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's right. Good thinking, Alice. So,
once again, something we might think about figuring out before the show starts, too.
So,
I think, like the
so I'm writing him an email.
Yes.
We'd love you to be a sponsor. It just makes sense. What do we want to ask for? Because I'm sure we're just making money off of it, but a lot of it goes to charity, etc. What do we ask for? What is the deal?
I don't know. I mean, what? You want it on trade? You just want free hot sauce?
I want free hot sauce.
Okay. I mean, then I would ask for free hot sauce then, if that's what you want.
How many monthly downloads do we have?
Monthly downloads?
Yep.
Probably 60, 70K. But, I mean, okay, but yeah. Some of those aren't back episodes, though, so unless we were going to go back and insert it into all our old episodes, which I suppose we could, but I don't know. Why are we doing this right now during the show?
I'll tell you why.
Just out of curiosity. Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing about why. Because I would just go talk about a topic, but I wouldn't want to be yelled at for changing the
bottles
subject.
of hot sauce do you think are in a case?
Like 12 or 24, probably.
Okay.
I don't know how big a bottle is even, so I don't know. But probably a number like that. So, I mean, are we always going to do this on the show from now on? Because I don't think it's super compelling content. I have to be honest with you. I'm holding on.
And
what is
how do you find the podcast? How do you find the podcast? How does he find it?
At burnbarrelpodcast.com. There's links to all the ways to listen.
www.burnbarrelpodcast.com. Okay. We'll see if this works. If you guys have any ideas for follow-ups or something, then I would like to know.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Important content for the listeners.
So here's the deal. So I was just at karate for the kids, and it is taking, by the way, our little son, Anson, who's 6.
7, but okay. 7.
He's got like a really good combination punch. He was really punching hard, and he got his kicks on, and he was great. And I thought, like, this is Five Dragons up in Amesbury.
Yeah.
maybe I'll get him a bottle of hot sauce if things work out. But we're going to name this the Chelsea Fire Hot Sauce Studio if he gives us the hot sauce.
Okay.
So, by the way, if you guys have certain hot sauces that we must try, let me know, because I'm allowed to have hot sauces that don't have any like sugar in them or fruit. Some of them do.
Yeah.
So anyway, this class of kids today at Five Dragons is fantastic. They've all gotten better together. They were loud. They were in sync. They could storm the hill. They were ready. I was telling you, they were like have you ever heard such a good and strong group? It was like shocking to hear. I mean, it was good. So, and then something occurred to me. They were running them ragged today, which of course I love.
Yeah.
Which it hits me in right in my heart. I love it. And while they're doing it, after they were running them ragged, and then they had them do push-ups, and the kids who needed to have better form, they took aside and do better form. So you were feeling the burn today in this class. There was no getting away with it. And then they had them do 3 minutes of planking at the end. Awesome. It reminded me of when I did Fat Camp in Melrose, the planking, and so I was made so happy by the sound of these kids in utter pain. And actually, Anson lasted all 3 minutes. He only 3 out of maybe 15 lasted all 3 minutes.
Wow.
But there was a time after the 2 minute mark, then all you could hear was moans from the kids. Oh, like they'd all been gut shot in a Civil War field somewhere. And it was incredible. And I thought, and this is my idea for Sensei Rick of Five Dragons. It's my idea. Sell soundtracks of the pain noises that the kids make. Because they sell the T-shirts and
as like white noise for parents to make you feel good.
You can just marinate in the sound of child pain. It's so wonderful. Oh man! And plus, it's healthy, good pain, is it not?
It is. It's good for you. Makes you.
And
stronger.
I thought about it during the class, and then as I was leaving the class, my knee's been messed up. My knee pain turned into a sharp knee pain. And I was limping out. And this guy was probably like in his 70s said, "That was me last week. I have sciatica." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And it hurt so much that when I got to the parking lot, I couldn't get my shoes fully on. And my knee hurt so much that I was stuck where I stood. And I thought, I'm going to have to call you to get me because I couldn't lift my leg because my knee, it's a sharp pain, like a dagger right in the kneecap. And yeah, I thought, man, I'm going to have to get airlifted off of this place right here. I can't make it anymore. I've never had this kind of pain. But then I finally did make it to the car. And then, and now, like, I can walk a little bit. But I had ibuprofen and I made a cocktail. So we'll see what happens. But I think we've got a synergy situation here, Alice.
Okay.
We're coming live from the Chelsea Hot Sauce Studios, as you know.
Well, we'll see if we are, I guess.
But let me tell you a little bit about.
Okay.
You were asking me about the Chelsea hot sauce story. Mm-hmm. Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce brand was invented and branded and incorporated originally in Chelsea, Mass. Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce was inspired by and named after the Great Chelsea Fires of 1908 and 1973, in which you would have found birthed one whom?
Thomas Wynne Shattuck.
Exactly. Which was nearly devastated a community. Instead, the events brought neighbors...
Yeah, I would say that birth did.
Instead, the events brought neighbors together and strengthened the resolve of the citizens of Chelsea, Massachusetts. Have you ever noticed that the hotter the sauce, the less flavor it has? Do we really need to give up flavor to get that heat? Not with Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce, a wickedly flavorful blend of habanero and ghost peppers. First, you get the flavor, then you get that nice, slow, creeping burn. Every hot sauce enthusiast seeks in a quality hot sauce. This guy's right. He does it right. Mm-hmm. Chelsea Hot Sauce will donate 5% of its wholesale and retail purchase price to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, assisting families and coworkers with counseling, scholarships, and support programs. Then you go to shop. They hit the shop button. This is a very scaled down website. There's a picture of Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce there. Mm-hmm. But then you go to all products.
Is it one product?
Correct.
I like it.
I like it too. I want to start our. Oh,
what?
Oh my God, Alice!
What is it?
Alice!
What's wrong?
I closed the deal.
Wait, really?
I closed the damn deal.
Wait, what?
Hi, Tom. You got it. I can send you some bullet points, too. Regards, John W. Brown, owner of Chelsea Fire Hot Sauce. Oh, my God, Alice. This is the greatest day. This is the greatest day. Chelsea Fire Hot Sauce. Oh, my goodness. The Chelsea, coming to you straight from the Chelsea Fire Hot.
I actually can't believe that.
I can't believe it either. Why didn't we ask for $100,000? What are we, crazy? Oh, this is great.
You know, maybe if the partnership works out for a while, maybe you can graduate to charging real money someday. Or you can just get paid in hot sauce forever. I don't know.
Hold on.
Trish says congratulations in the chat. I'm amazed, to be honest with you. Morgan's congratulating you, too. Can't believe that that's true. Seems crazy. Is this made up? Is this a bit?
No.
I'm just not always sure with you. Sometimes I play an unwitting part in a bit you're doing, and I don't know.
No. Oh, my God, Alice. I've never closed any deal ever in my life. This is incredible.
Maybe it's good luck to do it on the live stream. I'm sorry. I was a doubting Thomas.
You got it. I can send you some bullet points. You got bullet points.
I was a doubting Thomas, and you closed the deal. Maybe it's good luck to do it on the show. Maybe you should try and do all your selling on the show itself. Do you think so?
This is the greatest single day in Burn Barrel history. Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so other things, Alice. I'm surprised that we didn't get more action on the chat, just simply because yesterday's show is one where we kind of fought a little bit.
But I wasn't there for most of the show, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
most
sorry.
people
I'm
probably
sorry.
stopped watching.
I mean, I trashed you while you weren't there, is what I meant. No. But we kind of fought a little bit yesterday. Just what were we fighting about? Because you weren't paying attention, right?
Yeah.
I actually talked to Todd Feinberg about this morning during my walk, and he found, of course, Todd found that's fascinating. He finds everything fascinating. Doesn't matter. I
love Todd.
So do I. He's the greatest, but he finds stuff fascinating.
So what were his other? What did he find?
He thought it was exciting and it'd be good content because it's at each other. But I thought that maybe, well, we talked about just being on the air and like that feeling, and sometimes, and Todd sometimes wonders if I'm sometimes I buzz off, lose the ping with him sometimes as we're talking during our crossover time. And a couple of times I have, but it's only generally when there's a caller that's not really compelling, and I'm like,
right.
And I just, which is still bad etiquette and still not good because like what he said, Todd said essentially, and he's right, is like when somebody does that and you're trying to do a thing with somebody and then you realize you're alone, is that you have to start from scratch again.
Right. Although, in fairness, you do it to me quite a lot
all
too.
the time. I do it all the time. Yes. The difference is that in our contract, I can do it to you, but I need your attention.
I'm here to wait on you.
But it's this feeling when especially when
you've actually walked out of the room before in the middle of the podcast while I'm talking to take a call in the hallway or something.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, you got to be prepared for that. That's because I have to take a call in the hallway. It's nothing. You know, I've probably grabbed cocktails or I made a burger downstairs one time. So it just it's a very unique situation that people who are doing broadcast stuff would know the most, especially people who have done broadcast stuff. You know, well now we're live, but like if you're doing broadcast stuff like in a studio. Mm-hmm. In the old days, 10 or 15 years ago, a host can simply melt down because he's essentially just torn asunder by the realities, and it can really get to you. And sometimes it can be, you've based the entire show around one play or one theme, and so anyway, I was listening to Gerry Callahan's podcast today.
Yeah,
Gerry Callahan, who does not have Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce as a sponsor like we do.
Well, I assume the Gerry Callahan podcast probably asks for money too.
Oh yeah. Hey, the you got it was so quick, Alice. Should I have asked for a truck? He's like the usual deal we do is like a truckload of hot sauces and $800,000.
I mean, did you tell him how many spots or whatever?
6 months.
Oh. Wow, that's a long contract for what, one case of hot sauce?
Maybe I shouldn't have.
How many hot sauces did you ask for?
Case. I don't know. So, by the way, this only goes for Chelsea Fire hot sauce, guys. Other than the actual rack rate is something more. Can't believe I landed the deal. Okay, so anyway, so Gerry's show today, listening to it, and it reminded me a little bit of yesterday. Not quite, but of a situation that it happens every time. If you've been a producer in the radio, you've been there. And if you've been a host, and even not even just a host, let's say you're giving a presentation for your work, and you know you need somebody to be clutch and they're not, or even somebody in your adult hockey team. This is the company softball team.
Yeah, I was just about to say a sports
company trivia team.
It's probably some kind of sports metaphor where somebody like you pass the ball and nothing happens.
And it's not just nothing happens, but like tragically nobody's doing what they should be doing. So let me grab Gerry's. I have 1,000 windows open, of course. Oh, at this point, I mean, we've already won the day. So listen to this. He's talking about the cut we played essentially yesterday with John Kirby. When they said, when they asked him, what do you think about people in China yelling freedom, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's the cut Gerry's looking for. I could tell there was a problem seconds into this.
Is this Ducey or who asked the question? Or it doesn't even matter.
I honestly don't know who asked the question.
Ducey grilled him good yesterday, but let's listen to this mealy mouth. I don't even know what that means, but this pathetic, just cowardly response from the Biden administration on the uprising in China. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, what is the president's reaction when he hears protesters in China chant freedom or Xi Jinping step down?
The president's not going to speak for protesters around the world. They're speaking for themselves.
Go ahead, play the rest of it.
Right there, I thought, oh no. Oh no.
Also, I don't think that's Peter Ducey, is it?
No, it's not Ducey. It's I think Klein or the kid from CBS. But that's okay. He asked us Ducey. He didn't know. So let's live through that together again.
Step down.
The president's not going to speak for protesters around the world. They're speaking for themselves.
Go ahead, play the rest of it.
That's the whole clip.
Okay, can you get the longer clip? I mean, God, is that asking too much to have the whole answer? Anyway, John Kirby says nothing. Can you get the rest of the clip, please, now? I want the rest of the clip. I want the entire answer. I want all the answers that Kirby gave to these questions.
This has now gone from being a condemnation of one failure to really settling all scores. This is what's happening here.
Nothing. Can you get the rest of the clip, please, now? I want the rest of the clip. I want the entire answer. I want all the answers that Kirby gave to these questions. That's not good enough. Did you not know that response was 10 seconds long and his real answer is like 2 minutes long?
I didn't know. That's the one you sent.
Okay, find the rest of the answer, please. Anyway, he gets grilled 3 or 4 times, says nothing. The president's
Jerry tries to
let
walk
them
it off,
speak for
shake
themselves.
it off.
What?
Nope.
Speak for themselves. It's your job to support them. It's your job as the leader of the free world to support these people who want to be free. You march out this...
Craig continues to not have the clip. Now, I have been in this position as a producer, as the trembling and chills come over you, as things are continuing to fail here. You can tell that Gerry is still not over it initially, and he is revisiting now the issue.
Empty suit to say he'll let them speak for themselves. I'll get you. When you want me to find the response and I'll send it to you, is that what I have to do?
Yeah.
This is the one that you sent me.
Okay, find another one.
I'm finding.
Why is that so hard to do? This is a press conference. That means every answer is out there, is available. You could have the whole press conference. You could have every answer. This is the most important clip of the day. It's the president's response to the rise up.
This is the most important clip of the day. This is a press conference. What he's doing is packing the warhead full of TNT. So he can nuke Craig to a level that is supposed to shatter Craig. So he knows that this is not just so you know, this is what's called a press conference, patronizing, condescending. It's the most important clip of the day. In other words, if you were smart, you would know that. By the way, and I'm not judging Craig or Gerry on this. I'm just, as somebody who's been in the position, in the Craig position on this, I have had some producers who have astounded me. One kid used to record cuts just with his phone off of a computer. So
No.
yeah, and I said to him, I said, tell me, we'll call him Ben. I said, Ben, and Ben had gone to a very expensive broadcast school.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $60,000 a year.
Okay.
I said, Ben, there's no way that you just recorded that with a cell phone off of a computer's speaker, right? And he said, yes. I said, okay.
No. Oh.
Reminds me of the guy, another producer one time when I was over at WRKO, who was late one day, and he came running in carrying a cat cage for a cat. He said, I put this under your desk till the end of my shift. And I thought, this kid is not going to last here. Don't ask anybody to put your cat holder under anybody's desk. So, okay, let's go back to Gerry here. He's not taking this well.
Conference. That means every answer is out there, is available. You could have the whole press conference. You could have every answer. This is the most important clip of the day. It's the president's response to the uprising in China. And you give me 10 seconds. You got to get more than that, Ironhead. I'm sorry. That's not good enough. I mean, I have to find every clip myself. I'll do that. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
It's not over.
Okay.
You don't have Ducey going back and forth.
Craig says, okay. Not the right answer, Craig. Don't let Gerry... If Gerry sends every clip himself, you've got a problem, Craig. That is not good. You do not want that to happen. But, probably what's happening, too, is Gerry is not seeing I would assume, I'm speculating, Gerry is not seeing not desperation, but he's not seeing
A hunger?
He's not seeing a desperate yearning to get the clip from Craig's body language.
He's not.
He's seeing it.
hustling.
Okay, I think that's what he's seeing.
With him. You don't have any other answers. He got asked 5 different times about the China, and that's all you have is 10 seconds.
Well, all I'm seeing is 20-second clips, and that is the one that you sent.
Okay, I don't care what I sent you.
Okay.
That's not your job. Your job.
So now Craig is doing this exactly wrong.
Yeah.
He should not kind of take a beating and mumble that there are no answers. He should either be quiet and do whatever it takes under God himself to get the clip,
Right.
or explode back on Gerry in a way that's really fiery and like, holy God, like lose his mind on Gerry. And then
you could have some fireworks.
then you have fireworks, and then Gerry gets amused by all that, and then he's like, wow, this actually pretty good. I'll take this. But, easier said than done. It's me. I'm over here. I'm not there.
Is to get the clips that matter. You guys get the sound that matters. I mean, how do you not see that? The most important thing yesterday was the White House's response to this, to the protests in China, and that's all you have.
Now, so this is where, when Gerry says, get the sound that matters, first of all, obviously Craig can't read Gerry's mind.
Right.
He's not quite sure. That said, this is also, I think, where there's a difference. Because Craig is a good conservative, and so he knows essentially what's going on. But
no, Craig's great. I mean,
I agree. But this is probably somewhere where, had Craig been a producer for a radio station for years, like Callahan would know. Callahan knows exactly the makeup of Gerry's brain, I think, and knows exactly what Gerry would want, which makes Dave a great producer because he also knows what Kirk wants usually, you know, because he knows he's been in both of those worlds, and Dave's got no soul, and so he can walk from room politics to room sports to room, smuttiness to whatever, in be nonplussed and work and operate in all of them because he's soulless. But and also. And I think that, I don't even know, are Craig and Gerry in the same room?
I'm not sure.
If they're not, maybe they are. If they're not, that can be a problem too, because if you're not in the same room, a lot of times, I don't know if Gerry's a good communicator.
I think it's much easier being in the same
Right.
room. Having done it with you, who obviously we're very close and understand each other very well and communicate news and clips and stuff to each other all the time, whether we're doing a show or not. So I think we're about as closely linked as a podcast team can be, but there's a difference not being in the same room with you when we're not in the same room.
Oh, totally.
When you're together in the same room, it's much easier to like read body language and bounce off each other and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough.
Well, but also that if they were together, that they'd have reps together, and they'd know what each other, how each other works, and he would have a better idea of what the kind of thing Gerry looks for, and what the kind of thing. I mean, he would know where Gerry goes to find to learn what the best clips are.
Right.
And like Howie used to always go to Lucianne and Free Republic.
Right.
And so I knew where Howie would be looking, so I'd get there first when I would fill in for Howie as a producer. And I learned where Michael Graham went. You learned, although Graham was, I had many of these back and forth like Jerry's having with Graham for the first year. It was absolutely at each other.
But you also did like multiple hours of show prep in the lead up to the show, going back and forth about clips and like producing whole things, like long things of stuff put together, and like you would argue things out sort of in advance and like you guys
we
did like hours of really show prep.
That's a great point.
In a way that I don't know that Craig and Gerry do that together. Like spend that kind of time like in the same room.
And
like
Craig's
you and
got a
Graham
full-time
were
job.
like
He's got a full-time job.
right. So you and Graham would be like
we'd have
next to each other for
3 or
like
4 hours
3 hours
hashing stuff out.
Right.
You'd have pitching stories and then taking a side and then arguing, and then it was the run through. It was batting practice. That's well said, Alice. I remember because some of the salespeople used to say, "Can you guys calm down, quiet down?" I was like, what doing? It's a radio station, right?
Yeah, we are what you sell,
Right.
by the way. So
or don't sell, depending. I mean, they couldn't sell. They never got the Chelsea Fire Wicked hot sauce account. So.
I know. But yeah, I think that's it's a tough thing to do when you're not having that kind of relationship.
Right,
know?
and I think that's the thing, is that if they do enough reps together, then they'll trust each other more. And actually, on yesterday's show, Craig was very good. He had a couple of good lines. He was a wise ass, and he was like piping up a lot. And I'll have more to say on that in a moment.
Okay, I'll find it. I'll find it. Why don't you talk about
in other words,
he's doing the same thing you did yesterday.
Exactly. That's exactly right. The whole thing is just collapsing around me. I'm going to let it collapse. Even though it only collapsed 25%, I'm going to let it collapse 85% so you can see what you caused. This is like a quarterly review, except just live and interpretive broadcast version.
And I'll look for it and I'll find it and I'll send it to you. We can play all the responses to all the questions about China from...
I'll look for it and I'll find it and I'll send it to you. That is a very Michael Graham thing to say, too. Oh, I can do your job better. Or my last... Graham used to always say to me is, oh, my last guy could find it. No problem. My last guy could find it. He was a dickhead.
From John Kirby. Or not.
By the way, in Craig's... or not, he says. In Craig's defense, we had the John Kirby cut yesterday, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I'm not sure that Kirby... Like, all the responses from John Kirby were gold yesterday.
We'll move on since we don't have the capability of playing all his answers about China from yesterday. Let me get to something else here. Let's get to what do we got? We got so we'll get to Sam Britton. That's the best story of the day. Well, we'll move on. We'll move on to the Biden. The most revealing thing I think about Joe.
Anyway, so there you go. We'll move on, he says. We've
tough.
begun officially declaring defeat. Just not going to happen.
Yeah, ouch.
So, but to Craig's credit, and once again, I am not judging Craig because I have been in that position, and it only gets tougher. It only gets tougher as, hey, James, we've got some hot sauce coming. It only gets tougher as each moment passes, and you're still not finding it. And you're trying to defend yourself, and you're getting browbeat. So it only gets tougher. So he was, he hung in there, and that's good for him. And actually, he dusted himself off. Craig did, and interacted on the rest of the podcast. Because I thought, okay, now he's emotionally dead. He's just gonna whimper out of this thing, and he didn't. He everybody's got their own strengths and weaknesses. And, also, let me tell you this. If Gerry wanted a specific cut, he should have sent him what he
A
wanted.
specific cut.
Right. Michael Graham used to always assume that I knew exactly what he wanted because I was inside his head and I knew how he wanted to riff, and I didn't. So he'd tell me, he'd send a link and say, 24 seconds in to 56 seconds in, exactly. And we had it because I wasn't getting what he wanted, and I was doing what Craig did, and didn't have the whole thing. And he'd say, what do you do? Why are you doing whatever? And finally we said, okay, we need to communicate exactly. I'm going to do that. I didn't have to do it with my last guy, but I'm going to communicate exactly. This is, you want this? It's kind of lime water. So, but then, and then that was fine. But, people click in different ways. And then after 1 year, I had 1 year of total hostility between me and Michael Graham. And then at about exactly a year, it was after I had, stayed behind like on Christmas Eve, putting together the Christmas special myself, that Graham felt that he could totally trust me, and we had we had bonded. And then we were a strong pairing together, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
And also I was freelancing my own stuff. I was coming up with bits and things like that, and on my own, and bits in which a lot of times I was hostile towards him, and he always liked that, and because once a lot of these hosts, all they want to see is that you're bleeding like they are. They just want to see, because they're going in and. Doing a podcast is not the end of the world. I'm sure it's tough for some people, and easy for others. But you just want to.
Well, you want to see that the other person's trying. You've had that before when you've done a few hobby podcasts here and there that you wanted to be more than hobby podcasts, and other people weren't always all in.
Yeah, totally. And I've had one of the things
people are goofing off and
or. One of the things that I've had over the years, even starting in 2009 when I was doing a podcast, is we used to do one, a few of us at an old radio station, and the other guys would all say, "Oh, we'll chime in with funny stuff, and you do the talking." I'm like, oh, really? Is that what's going to happen? I'll do the talking, and you just chime in with funny stuff. Really? That sounds like a fair deal. It's great to be able to say nothing. Then again, actually, maybe it helped.
Yeah, but a few people in the chat were saying that they wish that you or Turtle Boy were still on there more often, or whatever. I do think Gerry's more fun when he has another person who's going a little bit more.
I do too, because why is Gerry?
Although I do think Craig is good when he wants to be.
Ooh, well.
What does that mean?
I don't know. What does that mean?
I mean when he's more relaxed and stuff.
Well, he's
on
more relaxed.
Some of the other things that he does, he's funnier, and and he is, and I talked to him a tiny bit at the convention, not a lot, but I mean he's actually a big conservative, but you can't necessarily tell to listen to Gerry's show.
You're right. He's very subdued, and I think that he's probably still he doesn't know what level of inclusion Gerry wants. Because actually, you know what I listened to the other night was a very good show. Have you listened to that?
I heard some the other day when it was the thing where he was pretending to be laid off, or from Twitter
from
or whatever.
Twitter. Yeah.
That whole
so
thing.
That's
I
the first
listened to
one.
that.
The first episode I listened to, and I think I heard one more. It's a very funny podcast.
Yeah,
they're all funny. Craig is funny as hell in that. They're all of them are funny. And but of course he's got a comfort zone with those guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think if they just work together and spend some time together, then they'll both be more comfortable. But I think that's right. Why is Gerry doing this mechanical stuff? He shouldn't have to set up every topic and do everything. He's one of the things about the Dennis and Callahan show was Gerry's a funny bastard.
Yeah.
And so that's
what Fred Smirla said to me about Gerry, actually, when I talked to him.
Oh, really?
He said he's a wise ass.
He is a wise ass. He's a wise ass.
He said, I love Gerry. He's such a wise ass.
Gerry is great. And in person, he reminds me of every dude. You could tell that he was a high school jock.
Yeah.
You could tell. He's got a little bit of that where he's looking at you at whatever flaw you have, and you better believe it's coming back at you. But he is a wise ass. But the best thing about these wise asses, and almost every radio a-hole I know, is that all of them can take it when you dish it out. Mm-hmm. All of them. There are some who don't like you criticizing their podcast episodes. even for a nanosecond. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting, and people who are podcast fans or broadcast fans might think that kind of stuff is interesting. I yield the floor to my darling and beautiful wife, Alice. Nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you too, as always.
Yeah.
As always, you're wonderful and lovely. I complimented you on Twitter last night. Did you even see that tweet?
I just
Where
saw the dinner that I
posted
made.
my food that
Yeah.
you made me.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, I saw that. That was very nice. I saw it today.
It was a very nice dinner. It's true.
I'm happy to make you something again. That's one of the things about you not being able to eat everything is that I really miss making you decadent pastas.
Well, you
and
could make
things.
me that again.
Yeah.
And I actually spoke to my Wake Up 180 coach today because I wasn't feeling like I was getting quite enough carbs, and I sent her some samples of like what I'd been eating, my like calorie log and whatever. And so she was saying that I should if I want to eat spinach, I should eat spinach as a bonus vegetable, but I should try and get in more other vegetables too.
No.
Well, not you, for me. But I like other vegetables, so like peppers and cucumbers and like other things like that. And more of my Primal Kitchen Caesar dressing that I love.
I bought some
more
today.
fats. The Caesar?
Yeah, I bought Caesar and
Oh, yum. Okay, I love
range.
that. I love that. I'm going to eat that with cucumbers later then.
Good.
And I'm going to enjoy it. But yeah, I was emailing with her, and yeah, so she said I could do that or add some more berries. But I loved that. I loved the dinner you made me last night. So I'm going to have that again. And if you're inclined to make it, do we still have more burgers, or did you give them all to Pepper?
No, only 4 I gave Pepper.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that was lovely. That was a nice dinner. We didn't do it on this show recently, I think, but you did some of the suicide story recently, too.
I did?
Didn't you
No.
on your radio show? Didn't you do the commercial? Or no? Did you not?
No. Yes, I did.
You did do the
Yes.
commercial. So like a Canadian company's running ads now promoting assisted suicide, and they're like encouraging people who are too poor to live because Canada's social programs, even though for some reason they tell us about them all the time here, like they're great, they actually suck, and people are living in utter poverty and deprivation who are like disabled, and they're just like, well, you could always consider assisted suicide, basically.
Right. Yeah.
It's like what they're telling people now in Canada. It's really dark and disturbing, and I'm kind of laughing
You know the
but
thing-
it's like creepy. But now if you Google suicide in Canada, like, you know how if you Google suicide here,
Yes.
you get like a hotline
Right.
to help you not commit suicide. But in Canada now, if you Google that, it will pop up with the hotline in case you want to be talked out of committing suicide, but it'll also pop up with information for how to get in touch with somebody who can help you do the deed.
Just the PayPal button comes up.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Enter
Alice,
your health
because
insurance number here, and we will
It
hook
is
you
interesting
up.
that we've come here this far because, I mean, like the treatment, some of the globalist stuff that Trudeau says, and the treatment of the truckers, some of whom, like, he
Yeah.
took their rigs from them, etc.
And they went after them like with the banks, and people doxed
Right.
people who
Right.
donated to them through
Right,
Give,
and called them
Send, Go.
Nazis and
Yeah.
Confederate flag, and they were. This idea that if you're depressed, that the state will help you kill yourself would be unthinkable a few years ago.
Yeah.
This is not normal. Trump is a lot of things,
Feeling down?
including a good pal of some avowed anti-Semites now. But he ain't this. He's got the like common sense lizard brain thing going. This is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, the assisted suicide stuff. And it's interesting because I know a lot of people are kind of squishy on that issue, especially if you've had a loved one die in like a terrible or painful way. Like a lot of people do feel that it should be legal at the very end of life when people are in a lot of pain and suffering and all this stuff. And I get that, but I was also told there definitely was absolutely not a slippery slope to that. And that was ridiculous to even suggest. And now here's where Canada is, where it's like legal for a teenager with nothing but some mental problems like anxiety to go without their parents' permission and go kill themselves with the help of the state, which is that's more than a slippery slope. That's like that's an incredible rate of speed for that issue to change. And I mean, I think that if the cost is that we can't have it for anybody, that we need to go back to that because this is obviously not a good solution to the problem.
It certainly can't be mental health issues. It can't be. And I mean, and
what about physical issues that aren't curable, but that are not like going to kill you or anything? Like the article that we read on Barry Weiss's Substack, that was the kid. It was a 19-year-old who was blind, who it wasn't curable, but he wasn't going to die or anything. He was just blind and didn't like it and was depressed and was like home smoking weed and not getting a job or going and seeing anybody.
No, because if it's not a pain thing, then.
But according to him, he's suffering and his life is terrible.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, his mind is playing tricks on him.
Well, yeah, and imagine how far you have to take that, because the pain that suicide inflicts on so many people around the person is so intense. To claim that it's some kind of victimless thing to do, that it should be up to the person because it doesn't hurt anyone else except you. Like, well, obviously that's not true, that it doesn't hurt anyone else except you. It clearly hurts a bunch of other people.
Hey, what's going on down there? Jamesy. Sally.
Yeah. And they sound happy.
Okay, I know, but somebody opened the door.
They did? I didn't hear that.
Hey, Anson.
He's not going to answer you.
What's going on? Did somebody just go out the door? Okay.
I didn't hear a door, so. But yeah, someone in the chat says they used to be in favor of assisted suicide, but because it's too far with the slippery slope, they want to go back. Because, yeah,
I'm gonna have to reevaluate too.
Trish, what about Alzheimer's or ALS or
ALS? Yes.
Yes, what?
You should be able to opt out. Well, I mean, you could also just kill yourself, I think, right?
Well, yeah, but the argument would be that's messier and more painful. If you blow your brains out in the house and your family has to walk into that and clean it up, that's way worse on them than if you just
how I'm going to do it.
Than if you just go to the doctor's office and don't come back, that's much easier on everybody. Although I think it's kind of dark. Or people throw the parties. Goodbye parties for themselves.
Yeah.
They invite over a living funeral. They'll
How's
invite
your
over
dense breasts,
everybody.
by the way? What's the update on your dense breasts?
My mammogram is tomorrow, actually.
Oh, is it really? How fun.
Yes. Exciting.
How fun.
Exciting. Ooh. Someone in the chat said, is that the noise of the car starting? I know. Bye, Anson. See ya. We sent him to the Packy. Yeah, so in other dystopian news, the what place is this? The Economist is reporting that they think that the energy shortages in Europe this winter could cause 100,000 excess deaths of the elderly people in Europe this winter. I guess that's another way to get rid of the poor and the elderly and reduce your healthcare costs, I guess, between the assisted suicide
Can you imagine prancing around Europe talking about your climate initiatives?
It's amazing. Did you see there's that new influencer? I think she's friends with Bill Gates' daughter or something, who was just named to the Forbes 30 under 30. Who's a climate person, but she's hot. She's not like Greta.
What's her name?
I'm not gonna remember her name now.
I saw that the dude with the fingernails who was prancing around Jen Psaki last year was one of them. They're trying to rehab his career, I'm sure his career doesn't need rehab. I'm sure he's made bigger deals than my hot sauce deal, but.
Yeah, I want to find the girl. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was very lovely, and they're trying to do a whole thing with her now. Trying to turn her into the next thing. I guess if having an angry autistic teenager yell at us didn't work, they're gonna go for attractive next to see if that takes. I don't know. I mean, what do you want? Also, Alyssa Milano's losing it.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, so you have to remember something about Alyssa Milano.
Okay.
For men my age, she remains a sacred, sainted person. She was highly important to men my age. And I believe she's older than me, so I'm allowed to say that, even though we started loving her as kids.
You're not retroactively as an adult loving her as a kid.
Correct. But as a kid,
it's as a kid you loved her as a kid.
correct, and
Gotcha.
that love traveled with her through the years. But I don't mind, like, I don't mind that she's dumb.
You don't?
But she's dumb, and the problem is that
The problem is she's dumb and angry.
right and wrong.
Yeah.
And no longer really beautiful. So, I mean, I give like 90 yards of free yards if you're beautiful and wrong and dumb and angry. That's fine. But she's now, it's like... well.
Yeah. But basically what she did after the fact of her not wanting a car made by white supremacists, so she got a Volkswagen. She's now, somebody tweeted a meme of her that was unkind. So she's tweeting at Elon Musk complaining that is that the freedom of speech you want? What about copyright infringement? Is that fine too? Well, like, for one thing, copyright infringement is illegal. So, I mean, like, Elon Musk doesn't have to be for or against that. If it's illegal, it's illegal, and it'll get taken down by the lawyers one way or the other.
Right.
But yeah, freedom of speech, I think, for most people does include the right to meme about public figures like Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, she's clueless on this. I mean, the VW thing was just classic. It's just absolutely classic. But so what are all the white supremacists doing? Like the guys up in Montana in compounds. What are they doing now that they've been recategorized? Or decategorized, as a matter of fact. They've been unpersoned. They've been unsupremacisted. Because they're no longer white supremacists.
How so? I'm confused.
Because the left in the media has decided that you and I are white supremacists.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So they're no different than you and I. So, like, the brutality of their brand has been diluted.
Well, that does make them angry.
Yeah.
Like, they don't. One of the things they complain.
You and I haven't put the work in.
Yeah, no, and they get upset that the people that the left says are white supremacists like aren't racist enough. Like, they complain about when Republicans say like, "Oh, the Democrats are the real racists" or whatever. Like, they don't like that. Like, or if people on the right, like, a lot of them didn't like the DeSantis stuff with the Martha's Vineyard thing because they were like, why are you trying to show that, like, the left is racist? Obviously, they don't want them in their community, and, like, we shouldn't either. Like, that was more, like, the take amongst that set. There is sort of a strain of people that don't want the Republican Party to be unracist, But, I mean, it exists. They're mad about it. But I think even, like, I would throw Fuentes in that category, for sure.
I heard more of him today.
Oh, yeah, doing what?
Just the way he speaks. He's such a good and affable speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes him so dangerous. The kid is dangerous. Here's a little piece of what I grabbed.
White people are always apologetic. Oh, no, I'm not a Nazi. Oh, no, I'm not anti. I would never. No, I'm not this. I'm not that. Hang on. First of all, how dare you? How dare you? This is a decent nation. This is a good nation of good people. And if anything, this nation welcomed Jewish people into America. And then this is what we get, right? If anything, America welcomed Jewish immigrants throughout the 20th century for various reasons. And then what do? They become successful.
So, first of all, a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Welcomed is an interesting concept. Jews were not off the boat in 1910 really considered white people.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think until the 50s could Jews go to normal colleges. I don't think they were allowed into Harvard till like the 50s. So this road, America, this country, although welcoming to foreigners, was happy to welcome them into tier 3.
Well, or there's been massive anti-Catholic propaganda in the country in the past, like
Of
huge
course.
anti-Catholic movements. A lot of the
You
temperance
give-
movement stuff,
yes.
like the the prohibition type of stuff, was stuff that was aimed at Catholics in particular by Protestants who were not for drinking.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt, and there's no doubt. I mean, and this happens in every country, and so I don't care. I'm not really ashamed of like the way that this country categorized people and was prejudiced against people, etc. It's not a good characteristic, but it's something that was not uncommon
Right.
in the world. People found their tribes, found differences. You know, there was a time when the people of the elites in this country who lived in the nice houses in Beacon Hill saw the poor people in the West End tenements and thought lesser of them. And in those West End tenements, there were Jewish people, and there were Irish people, and there were Italian people, and there were Portuguese, and all sorts of things. And I'm sure that these elites felt that they were superior in every single way. They all had good education, and they had whatever. And it's more of a class thing than anything. But this idea that the 2022 university culture is what it should have been then or could have been then, it was not happening. And don't worry, you lost a lot of your elites in the Civil War, the ones who didn't pay to have somebody poor go for them. The guy from who lived on Beacon Street, Robert Gould Shaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he was a young guy who got waxed. He was one of the elites. Okay.
Successful in media and Hollywood, and then browbeat us and call us Nazis and call us exterminationists and say we're murderers? Why? Because we profess the same faith that we always have? Because of our ancestors who built this country that so graciously welcomed you here?
You just put it right in there with nationalism and patriotism and in religion, but the condiment is there, and you know what it is. It's not like it. That's the problem too, is that you've called Trump a racist forever, and he wasn't, and now you're calling this kid a racist, and he is, but you've taken the sting out of the term racist.
Right, because you've called everybody that.
Right. So
you've got Trump who's like, I love the Jews, I love Israel, and I support all Jewish people, and has Jewish kids, and they're like anti-Semite. And then you have this kid who's like, actually, though, Hitler had a point, and they're like, see,
Right.
anti-Semite. Like, so it doesn't necessarily translate.
all right, bro. I think we gotta call it a night. Oh, what would you like to get to, my dear?
Let me just. Somebody in the chat says that Fuentes and Cannon Grant are the same thing.
Yes.
I think there's truth to that.
Absolutely.
I think there's absolutely truth to that.
She was a little careless with the shakedowns,
Well, the thing about
but then again,
being the Black Lives Matter movement, though, and in that moment in time, is there was a lot less scrutiny of you and things you said than there is of a Nick Fuentes.
right, and the cultural storm ran cover for her for a bit that made her feel invincible. And
Right.
then it receded.
So-
and then the feds came.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and she was stealing money. I don't know that Nick Fuentes steals anybody's money necessarily. Like, I think the people that like him actually like
He's
him.
deplatformed. He can't manage to get paid.
He can't steal money. He's incapable. But I think also there's a reason why he and Kanye and Ye ended up in the same universe. Right? Because I think there is, and I think there is in a lot of Black identity politics on both the right and the left. I think there are some strains of this like identitarian type of idea. And I think there's that same vein running through some of the stuff Monica Cannon Grant says as some of the things Kanye says too.
Yeah, I agree. It is too bad because
Commentary Magazine actually ran a great piece, a huge long piece about the history of like this anti-Semitism that's sometimes in like these Black liberation movements and like Farrakhan and kind of a lot of the Black Hebrew Israelite stuff. And
who
a
was
lot
it?
of these
Jim
things.
Meigs or Eli
I don't
Lake?
remember who wrote it, but it's in Commentary Magazine. If you look for it, it was there.
They're so
that
good.
was a really interesting piece, and like was a lot of history stuff that I didn't know that I really enjoyed. It was great to see it because I think it sheds a lot of light on like how we ended up here at this weird cultural crossroads moment where Milo Yiannopoulos and Kanye West and Nick Fuentes are all like palling around together and going to Mar-a-Lago and stuff. So here's my question. Do you think that... What do you think this sideshow, assuming it continues in some form or other, or how do you think this impacts a 2024 Republican primary?
I think more people will jump into the field as Trump's numbers continue to be diminished. I think it'll obviously the DeSantis team must be thrilled.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to tie it to him. I forgot where it was that was saying that DeSantis hasn't commented yet on the Kanye. Like,
what does he have to do with it?
What do you think about people saying Tim Pool shouldn't have talked to them?
I mean, I think there's some truth to it. I think more people heard Nick Fuentes yesterday who hadn't heard him than in a long time. I don't think he helped himself by going straight for like, isn't it true though that the Jews are the ones who came for Kanye or whatever he said? Like,
who, Fuentes?
Yeah, it was something like Kanye said, like, who do you mean by they? And Tim Pool was like, I don't mean it the way you guys mean it. And Fuentes said, like, oh, but isn't it them though? You know, and so I mean, I don't think he came across great. I don't think any of them did. If anybody else in the chat listened, I'd be curious what you thought. But you know, what you thought of seeing him. But I do know people who really like him and are way into it.
Tim Pool?
No, into Fuentes.
Really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, Alice. So here's my feeling on Tim Pool.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's very appropriate and prudent of him to have all those guys on. They just visited the last president of the United States.
It would have been good
and
if
the
they
possible
talked
next
about
president
that.
of the United States.
But they didn't talk about any of that. They just got mad that he gave them pushback about talking about Jewish people and then stormed out.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily reflect well on them, so maybe that's a good thing. But like I say, I explained to like 3 people who Nick Fuentes even was today who had never heard of him. So, you know, it does get him on more people's radar. So in that sense, I think that's, you know, I think that adds fuel to his fire a little bit, don't you?
Oh, yeah, maybe. But then again, I mean, he just met with Trump. So what are you going to do?
Well, Trump is still truthing on Truth Social or whatever.
I can't get on. Are you on?
No, I haven't bothered. I haven't even applied for
I
it or
applied
whatever.
months ago. And they get nothing.
Do they have it for Android too or just iPhones?
I don't know.
So Donald Trump truthed. I was 200. I don't even know what you're supposed to call it. I was 232 to 22 in the midterm elections and still have to listen to Dems, rhinos, and the fake news explain how poorly I did. Also, 98.6% in Republican nomination endorsements. Without my endorsement of Republican candidates, the numbers would have been a disaster. Same for 2018 and the corrupt election of 2020, where almost everyone won, and with the help of me, except me, and that's because the presidential election was rigged and stolen.
Excellent. That's great.
So I don't know how that bodes for his campaign, but I guess we'll see how it goes. And
celebration tonight, Alice. You gotta go get seltzers. I'm sorry about that. We're celebrating. We closed a huge deal tonight.
I have to go?
I can't go. My knee's broken.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'll think about it.
I
don't
landed
know.
the Chelsea
I'll
Fire
just drink hot
contract.
sauce. Okay.
Contract,
That's
Alice.
fine.
It's like with Ferris's mother and the Vermont people. I landed this contract. It's going to rain. We're lousy with hot sauce now. Lousy.
Nice. Okay. Anyway, you can find us at burnbarrelpodcast.com. If you want to join us live, you can do that
By the way, that doesn't mean the price point for spots is it simply mentions. Though, depending on the product, we do have a trade policy at the Burn Barrel Podcast.
Well,
in the
case of the hot sauce, we actually would be spending that money either way. So, we'd be buying hot sauce anyway. So it might as well be money that you're getting paid.
Right. And that is, by the way, a case of that hot sauce is worth $30,000. So that is the spot price point, the 30 reads right there.
So if you would like to support us in other ways, but you don't have hot sauce to hawk, you can join our Patreon. That's at patreon.com/burnbarrel, or as always for free on social media.